seek the impossible. In this episode, I'm going to share with you how do I attain the best possible. And you're going to be blown away because this is a valuable lesson that I learned, and I want you to learn from some of the mistakes I've made so that you can have an abundant life by always seeking the best possible. If you've watched some of my other episodes, I'm Doug Andrew, and I have a YouTube channel, Three Dimensional Wealth, and my purpose is to empower you as you view these because I've learned a lot by being a financial strategist, retirement planning specialist, but I've noticed that a lot of times people would come to me more than to optimize their money. They wanted to balance their life. They wanted to empower their children and grandchildren. They wanted to abolish entitlement mentality. They wanted to learn how we did this with our 6 children, to teach responsibility and accountability, to set up their trust so it was established under equal opportunities, not equal distribution, and how to abolish entitlement mindsets. When do I get my share? And so it's books like this one. This was my 10th book, Entitlement Abolition, where I share a lot of these concepts besides just financial. There's only one chapter out of 12 that has to do with money. All the rest of them have to do with how to have family vacations with a purpose, how to have grandpa's camp, how to teach responsibility and accountability by gamification, how to set up your trust under equal opportunity rules of governance instead of equal distribution. And so at the end of this episode, I would love for you to get a free copy of this book, and I'll show you how to get one. But the purpose behind this is to teach those that I care about, and I care about you, so that you can teach those you care about how to have an abundant life. Now, I've learned one of the principles to that is to always attain the best possible by seeking the impossible. So last year at our annual Grandpa's Camp, and Grandpa's Camp is where the teenagers come for the first 3 days and we talk teenage talk. And we go on high adventures and so forth. And then the 8-year-olds and older come in and join Grandpa for the next 2 days with the older ones. And the 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds go with Grandma. But we bring them all together. And I'm going to show you an exercise where we actually were teaching our grandchildren how to attain the best possible. And in doing this, what we did is we had them share examples of different people in history that actually attained unbelievable things that the odds were stacked against them. And so we had some of our grandchildren choose Thomas Edison. See, I love that story because Thomas Edison, he was known for what? Inventing the electric light, okay? The incandescent light. Now, what a lot of people may not remember is he actually attempted to invent the electric light bulb over 10,000 times. He failed. And a young reporter came up to him at that stage and said, "Mr. Edison, how does that feel, having failed 10,000 times?" Do you know what he said? He goes, "Oh, you're young. You haven't learned yet. I haven't failed 10,000 times. I've successfully found 10,000 ways that don't work." See, it was his attitude. And he actually went on 6,000 more attempts before he invented the electric light. But how much have we benefited from that invention because he kept trying? I mean, one of my favorite motivational speakers, Zig Ziglar, used to say, the only difference between a big shot and a little shot is a big shot is a little shot that just kept shooting. Okay? So you want to keep trying. Don't be afraid to fail. If you're going to fail, which we all are, fail often and fail fast, not on purpose, but every time you fail, Thomas Edison knew he was closer to the success. Even 16,000, quote, failures. He didn't look at it that way. And so you can look at all kinds of people in history that overcame tremendous odds, and because they kept trying. I mean, Louis Pasteur was another example that one of our grandchildren chose, and how he had developed, penicillin and so forth. He began to learn, If you study anybody who came out with a breakthrough, they usually had tons of failures before they arrived at their success. We have a tendency to only acknowledge their success, and we don't talk about how many times they failed. Well, the truth of life is we sometimes have to have many, many attempts before we arrive at success. So my wife, Sherry, and I, we have mentored many troubled youth at crisis centers, boys and girls homes, at the Christmas box house where children are there in protective custody. But many times these youth who have attempted to take their life, they do not think they have any value, that everything that they try is a failure. And so many times what I do is I'll come in and I'll create a little game to help them understand how to have success, that you can attain the best possible by maybe seeking the impossible. So I'm going to show you this right now, and we'll see if I can do this. Last year at Grandpa's camp, I gave each group of grandchildren a block of wood, and I put one nail, okay, out of 16 nails into the wood like that. And so my challenge was, I want you to take these other nails and somehow arrange them so that they all balance on top of that one single nail. Now, here's the rules. You can't use anything else. You can't use glue or rubber bands or magnets or anything, and you can't tip it over. It's got to stay upright, and all of these nails have to work together to reside, balance on top of that one single nail. They look at it and they go, "That's impossible." I go, "No, it's very possible. In fact, I can do it in less than 60 seconds. And in fact, sometimes I can do it in less than 30 seconds. Now, they know Grandpa doesn't lie. So they go, "Okay, it is possible. So now what is the challenge?" So they go to work. I'll show you what they do and then how it's done. So generally, when I give this, especially to youth or even adults, I've done this with hundreds of adults, they're taking the nails and I have them collaborate with 2 or 3 other people around a table. And I might have 15 of these at different tables in a restaurant when I would teach a large group of people. And I knew predictably, and unless somebody knew how to do this, they would sort of fiddle around for maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes before they finally started to collaborate and figure it out. And usually there was somebody who would lead from the front. But they would be sitting here and trying to balance this nail and stack them up and put it like this. And they were always getting so frustrated, and they were trying to figure out how they were going to get them on. And they would say, are you sure? Are you sure that? I said, "Oh, yeah, it's very possible." And so after they struggled for maybe 7, 8, 9 minutes, I would say, "Okay, I'm going to give you a hint, okay? What's the hint?" I said, "I'm giving it to you." "You are?" "Yeah." I say, "Do you want me to be obvious?" Okay. "That's a hint?" And I go, "Yeah." Usually the concept I was teaching is not only to attain the best possible by seeking the impossible. That looks impossible to do that, but together we're better. See, together we are better. So how can you make these nails work together harmoniously to accomplish the goal? Now they start going, so how can I do that? So they start to figure out how maybe they could weave these nails together. And usually somebody within 15 minutes would figure it out, and they would hide it, and then they would show everybody else, and they go, "Look at that." And then I had everybody do it. So when my grandkids, when I had these teenagers in the crisis center do this, they practiced and they could do it in probably 30, 35 seconds. Are you ready? So the key is, and sometimes I would say this might be mom and dad, this might be your leader, but you place one of the nails down like this, and you begin to arrange all of the other nails opposite on this one single nail, like this. And so as you arrange them opposite each other with the heads butted up against that one single nail, Now I have all of those nails together except for this one. What do I do with this one? I put it opposite like that. And then I take it and I lift it. I usually just slide it off the end of the table so that they all hold together. And then I have to come over here and balance it on top of that one single nail like that. And ta-da! All of them are balancing on one single nail. And they go, it's possible. And these kids that think they can't do anything, this made their day. They're like, I did it! I did it! Well, what am I doing it for? I'm helping them understand that what may seem impossible may be very possible once you learn the trick. Together, we are better. You can attain the best possible, have balance by working together. And this is a secret to happiness. You look for the ways that you can do things instead of the things you can't. I recently heard a story about a woman who was beginning to lose her ability to even breathe like she normally does, to be able to move. She had terminal cancer. And she said, every day I do the can-can. That's not the dance. I can still breathe. I can open my eyes. I can hear. I can still lift food to my mouth. I can still swallow. She didn't look at what she couldn't do. She looked every day at what she could do. Look at what's possible every day of your life, and you will have abundance. If that resonated with you and you would like to learn about simple games like this and many more, to hold a grandpa's camp, teach your kids and grandkids, I would love to gift you a copy of this book for free. I'll buy the book. You just pay $5.95 shipping and handling. Go to entitlementabolitionbook.com and I will send one out to you, and you can also get the audio version. You can learn from a master class, but you'll find out that I'm passionate about giving you insights into ways that you can empower those you care about. Watch any of these episodes that have to do with empowerment and how to abolish entitlement mentality, and read the book.